Did you know that one of the most powerful rulers in history, who commanded lands stretching from Egypt to Persia, once walked the streets at night, in secret, to check if his people were sleeping hungry? This man was not just a ruler. He was a servant of Allah, a protector of the weak, and a mirror of justice. This is the story of Umar Ibn Al-Khattab, a man whose life teaches us that true power is not in titles, wealth, or armies, but in humility, fairness, and accountability. Stay with me for the next few minutes, because this story might just change how you see leadership, justice, and your own daily choices. Umar Ibn Al-Khattab, the second caliph of Islam, was once a fierce opponent of the Prophet Muhammad. Known for his strength, courage, and sharp temper, he initially stood against Islam, but the moment guidance touched his heart. Umar transformed into one of the Prophet's closest companions and a pillar of truth. What's amazing is that this same man, who once seemed harsh, later became known for his compassion and his unshakable sense of justice. It's almost as if Allah was preparing his heart all along, shaping him to become a leader who would carry Islam to the world. When Umar became caliph, the Muslim world expanded rapidly. Armies brought victory, lands were added, and wealth began to flow. But Umar never saw this as privilege. He saw it as a test. He famously said, "If a mule were to stumble on the road in Iraq, I fear that Allah would ask me about it, why I did not smooth the road for it." Imagine that level of accountability. Today, leaders often shift blame, but Umar felt responsible even for a stumbling animal under his rule. And here's the lesson for us. You may not rule an empire, but you do have responsibilities towards your family, your work, your community. Leadership is not about control. It's about care. It's about asking yourself, am I protecting those under my influence, or am I neglecting them? One of the defining qualities of Umar was justice. He never allowed power, family, or status to cloud his decisions. Once, his own son was caught drinking alcohol, a serious offense in Islam. Umar ordered the punishment to be carried out without hesitation. To him, justice was not about favoritism. It was about fairness before Allah. And when a governor under his rule abused power, Umar did not hesitate to remove him. He reminded all leaders that authority is a trust, not a privilege. Think about that in today's context. We live in a world where corruption, favoritism, and abuse of power are common. Umar's life whispers to us, be the kind of person who stands for what is right, even if it's against yourself, your family, or your comfort. Despite ruling one of the largest empires of his time, Umar lived simply. His clothes were patched. His meals were basic, often bread and oil. He slept on a simple mat, not a golden throne. There's a story of a messenger who came from another land looking for Umar. He expected to find a grand palace with guards and treasures. Instead, he found a caliph lying under the shade of a tree, alone without guards, asleep peacefully. The messenger exclaimed, "You rule with justice, so you sleep without fear." Isn't that profound? Peace does not come from wealth or security cameras. Peace comes from a clear conscience, from knowing that you are fair, humble, and accountable before Allah. Perhaps one of the most moving aspects of Umar's life was his habit of walking the streets at night. He wanted to see with his own eyes how his people were living. One night, he overheard a woman trying to calm her children who were crying from hunger. She placed a pot on the fire, pretending to cook food, but inside the pot there was only water and stones. She was buying time, hoping her children would fall asleep from exhaustion. Umar, shaken by this, rushed to the treasury, carried a sack of flour on his own back, and cooked food for the family with his own hands. When someone offered to carry the sack for him, Umar refused, saying, "Will you carry my burden on the day of judgment too?" Pause and reflect. In our own lives, do we feel the pain of others, or have we closed our hearts? True greatness is not in how high we rise, but in how deeply we care. So what does Umar Ibn Al-Khattab's story mean for us in the 21st century? It tells us, justice matters, whether you're a parent, a teacher, a manager, or just a friend. Be fair. Stand for truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Power is a trust. Whatever influence you hold, see it as an amana, a responsibility, not a privilege. Humility brings peace. Live simply. Don't let material things define your worth. Accountability is freedom. Remember that every action, big or small, will be answered before Allah. These lessons are not just history. They are guideposts for our daily struggles, decisions, and relationships. Umar Ibn Al-Khattab, R.A., ruled with strength, but his true legacy was not power. It was humility, justice, and mercy. His life asked us a question. When Allah places responsibility in your hands, big or small, how will you carry it? So tonight, as you reflect, ask yourself, am I living for titles and appearances? Or am I striving for justice, humility, and accountability before Allah? If Umar could turn deserts into empires with fairness and faith, imagine what we could transform in our own lives, our homes, our communities, if we embraced even a fraction of his values. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, join our growing community of seekers by liking, subscribing, and sharing this video. Together, let's keep uncovering the mysteries of Islam, not just as history, but as light for our daily lives. Until next time, may Allah guide us all to walk with justice, power, and humility.